Drew Jenkins, the same man Stephanie calls the love of her life, literally ended a TikTok live after getting into a heated fight with her in front of everyone. And the reason, it wasn't about cheating or CPS or anything serious. It was about hate comments.
I'm not fucking. Alright, I'm gonna get off. I'll go live some other time. See you later. I'm not worried about it.
I mean, imagine living in a motel room with your 5 kids and instead of focusing on survival, you're fighting over comment moderation on live. Yeah, it is that bad. So let us rewind. Right now, things between Stephanie Jenkins, better known online as Resilient Jenkins, and her partner Drew are anything but peaceful. The two have been living with their children in a single motel room, which is already chaotic and overstimulating. But instead of focusing on finding stability, they've turned their personal lives into a public spectacle. Drew was on TikTok live as usual, chatting casually and answering questions from viewers. At first, everything seemed normal. But Stephanie was in the background, hovering, chiming in whenever something in that chat upset her. You could hear the tension from the start, and then it all began unraveling. People in the live started asking Drew about his job history, and you could tell he felt oddly proud. He leaned back almost with his casual confidence and started sharing how he's been in grocery detail for 12 to 13 years. He even added with this tiny smile that he had used to be a night crew manager. And I remember thinking, okay, that sounds like someone who's proud of their work, right?
When did I start my job? 5 months ago. Yes, night crew manager. That's what I'm labeled. Night foreman. It's what I'm labeled there. I did that. I was night crew manager for 8 years prior, and then a year and a half of dairy manager. I have 13 years of grocery retail experience. That's all I can tell you.
But then, out of nowhere, someone in the comments drops this suggestion like a truth bomb. Why doesn't he just go into construction? Because let's be honest, it pays way better. And Drew agrees. He literally goes, yeah, construction workers make like 2 or 3 grand a week. But then he follows it up with something that made my jaw drop. He just did not want to do it. Like, wait, what?
Yes, but I don't want to do construction. I know construction pays 2 to 3 grand a week. I don't want to do construction. I would have worked construction when I was 18 if I wanted to do construction. Why not do HVAC escape?
You're sitting there acknowledging that you could make thousands a week, that you could completely change your family situation, and your reason for not doing it is just because you don't want to go? He even said word for word that if he'd wanted to do construction, he would have done it at 18. And I'm sitting here thinking, imagine saying that out loud while living in a motel with 5 kids. He knows there is a way out, a path that could give those kids stability, but he's actively choosing not to take it. And I don't know about you guys, but that hits different. Because at some point, it's not just laziness, it is neglect dressed as comfort. Picture it. 5 kids, 1 tiny motel room, parents going live for hours at a time instead of figuring out how to move forward. These kids probably think their parents are doing everything they can to give them a better life. But one day they'll realize that wasn't the case. And that realization, that is going to sting. It's going to feel like betrayal. Because what's worse than knowing your parents had options and still chose not to try? And then Drew starts explaining why the blinds in the motel room are always closed. Apparently, there's this person who sits across from their window sometimes, just staring in. So his solution, he keeps the blinds closed all day. No sunlight, no air, no sense of life in that room.
You should open the blinds, let sunlight in. Should we? I want to see if... Usually when we do that, someone sits right there and just looking in. So someone said how many hours I work a week at Safeway. I try to work... I'm scheduled for 40, so I try to work as close to 4 as I can. Sometimes I leave a little early, so sometimes like 37.
I mean, imagine living like that. No natural light, no ventilation, no space to breathe. It's like you're trapped in this self-made cave of tension. You can almost feel how heavy that air must be. It is heartbreaking, claustrophobic, and honestly, it says so much about how they live in darkness, both literally and emotionally. And then Drew started talking about his work hours, and I swear this part had me staring at the screen like, what did he just say? He said he works at Safeway and tries to do about 4 hours a day. Sometimes less, sometimes more. But when he said it somehow adds up to 37 or 38 hours a week, I literally paused. The math was not mathing, besties. 4 hours a day, that's barely 28 hours a week. And yet he was so confident, so sure of himself, as if he was really out here grinding nonstop. It was almost like he believed saying he's trying his best makes it true. And I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but you can feel he's gotten too comfortable doing the bare minimum while his family carries the weight of it all. Then came the topic of hate comments, because of course, it always circles back to that. Someone in the chat asked if he's okay with people volunteering to be his mods and delete the hate. And Drew, surprisingly chill, goes, nah, I don't mind it. It's live comedy. Like, what?
Can you be a mod? Can you be a mod of what? Who said this? I don't know.
He called hate comments live comedy. Meanwhile, from the background, you suddenly hear Stephanie's voice, loud, angry, filled with swear words, going off on random commenters. It's like two completely different energies living in the same room. Drew's laughing at hate comments and Stephanie's cursing people out as if her life depends on it. You can literally feel the imbalance in their relationship through the phone. And the way Drew handled it, he stayed calm, detached almost. Like this was just another day of chaos. Stephanie, though, was spiraling, her voice getting sharper, angrier, like she couldn't control the rage boiling under the surface. And Drew just sat there, ignoring it, answering questions like nothing was happening. You ever watch something so awkward that you can feel it in your chest? Yeah, that was this moment. It was one of those uncomfortable silences where you realize this isn't just tension, this is emotional exhaustion on display. But then, as if things couldn't get more tone deaf, Drew announces that he's planning to start a YouTube channel. Like, he's living in a cramped motel with 5 kids, barely working consistent hours, and his big plan is to become an influencer. I mean, come on. It is wild. He says he doesn't want to overload his TikTok with gig work videos, so he'll post them on YouTube instead.
The gig work, I didn't want to overload it with gig work content because I don't know, maybe I'll start a YouTube for that or something. Because I didn't want to overload that on here with that. But the cleaning content, I gotta clean the bathroom. Are you done with Path to Exile? No, I'm still playing it. It's just I'm not doing anything right now. It's just paused. Oh, it's just paused. I'm just not doing anything.
And I'm just sitting there thinking, you're worried about overloading TikTok, but not overloading your kids with instability? The priorities are just so backwards. It hurts. And if that wasn't strange enough, he then drifts into talking about gardening. Yes, gardening and how he takes sobriety very seriously. But that chat, they started noticing things. Drew keeps sniffing off camera and people begin whispering in the comments, questioning if he's using something while live. It's one of those moments that make you stop and replay because your gut is telling you something is off.
Because I take sobriety very seriously. Then the kids will split the rooms and we'll have the living room. That's what we have decided on. Oh my god, excuse me, I could freaking blow my nose. I'm not. Why are your nose all stuffy? Bro, I don't know. How's work? Work sucks, but it's work. I go in there every day. It's like, I gotta do this. I don't know why my nose is stuffy.
And if that suspicion is true, it adds a whole other layer of sadness to this entire situation. Then the conversation shifts to housing. Someone sends them an apartment listing on Zillow, and Drew goes into this hesitant ramble about how he's not sure if they could get a 2 bedroom. He says a 3 bedroom would be perfect for their big family and that they'll probably try private landlords. He even mentions that if they do get 2 bedrooms, the kids will share and he and Stephanie will take the living room. And honestly, that tiny detail, it hit me because in their last 1 bedroom, they took the bedroom for themselves and left the kids to figure it out. So hearing him at least consider giving the kids more space this time, it's small, but it's something. It's almost felt like a glimpse of growth buried under years of dysfunction. But then again, this is the Jenkins family. Every time you see a silver of progress, chaos follows right behind it. And this is exactly where the calm ends. As the live continued, Stephanie became visibly irritated. You could almost feel it through the screen. Her voice got low, mumbling at first, words spilling under her breath about how Drew wasn't defending her against the hate comments. And when someone's not even speaking loud enough for others to hear, you can feel the anger in every syllable. That was her. You could barely make out her words. But her tone said everything. She was fuming. She wanted him to stand up for her, to fight her for her online, to fight her online battles, to prove that he was on her side. But Drew, he just sat there. He looked confused at first, a little startled, like he did not even understand what he's done wrong. He tried to explain that he had not noticed the comments, that there were too many flying by at once. He even gave this half laugh, half shrug, like, "What do you want me to do?" But Stephanie wasn't hearing it. She wasn't in the mood for logic. You could hear the sharpness in her tone building, the way her voice cracked as she said things under her breath that got harder and harder to ignore. And then she snapped. It started small, a few cutting remarks, but then suddenly it escalated into a full-blown shouting. They were swearing at each other live in front of everyone watching. And the way the comment section froze for a second, you could tell everyone was just stunned. That's the type of silence that feels loud when even the people watching know they are witnessing something they shouldn't. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Drew's face tightened, Stephanie's words kept coming, and finally, without another word, Drew hit the end button. The live went dark just like that. His abrupt goodbye barely covered the sound of Stephanie's voice, still echoing in the background.
I'm not fucking. Alright, I'm gonna get off. I'll go live some other time. See you later. I'm not worried about that. You don't reply to I didn't see any of that, baby. Like I said, there's so many goddamn comments I can't.
And through all of this, their little boy, Atlas, was right there, standing near the camera, making those small sounds that little kids make when they're trying to get someone's attention. It broke my heart because nobody even looked at him. Neither of them. They were too wrapped up in their own storm to notice the tiny person in front of them, just existing quietly in the chaos. And that is the part that sticks with you because while they are busy fighting, their children are right there, watching, absorbing, learning that this kind of chaos is normal. Imagine that being your version of love. After the live ended, viewers were left in shock. Many started calling out the couple for prioritizing online drama over their kids' well-being. People have long suspected neglect in that household, and this life just seemed to confirm it, especially since Stephanie has repeatedly painted Drew as antisocial or camera shy, claiming he doesn't like being on social media. But this live proved the opposite. Drew seemed perfectly comfortable on camera, chatting, laughing, engaging, even as Stephanie tried to control the narrative. It makes you wonder, was Stephanie just scared of what Drew might say online? Maybe she did not want him exposing things she would rather keep private, because every time he speaks freely, she seems to panic. It's honestly heartbreaking when you think about it. These two are adults who have every opportunity to change their situation. And yet they keep choosing chaos. They could get jobs, get housing, create some kind of stability for their kids. But instead they keep going life to argue, to rant, to fight for sympathy from strangers online. And it's the kids who suffer the most, living in darkness, surrounded by tension, hearing their parents fight on camera. It's more than just drama. It is a glimpse into how social media addiction and ego can destroy a family from the inside out. Like, imagine being those children, thinking your partners are doing their best, only to realize they're choosing not to try. So now we're left with one big question. If Drew and Stephanie really care about their family, why does every choice they make seem to hurt it? Because from where the audience is standing, it looks like pride, comfort, and attention have all become more important than stability. I don't even know what to make of this anymore. But what do you guys think? Because this is one of the wildest things I've seen from them yet. Let me know your thoughts down below because this story it is not going to leave my mind anytime soon.